Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Josie. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Josie. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Josie, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing one of their past projects. We will let you decide if it was good or bad or just plain ugly. But before we begin, here's today's Badassery Bestowment, my little badass gift to you. Today's topic is SW. It does not stand for secret weapon, even though I do use those letters when I'm hit with a bunch of no's, so maybe it is a secret weapon. The SW stands for some will, some won't, so what? Someone's waiting. This is so true. A couple months ago, we had to stop lending from our self-directed 401k to show more assets available when applying for the refinancing of some rental properties. We sold a large project and had a chunk of cash deposited into our business account, thus freeing up that money in our 401k. It was maybe a day later that a former coach of ours reached out looking for some funding. We hadn't spoken a long time, and several of his lenders were tapped out, so he increased his interest rate to 12%. We are quite confident with his established business achievements, so we were able to meet his deadline of 4 days later. Now, if he had stopped after the first 10 no's, he would have lost that deal. Instead of no, he said next and stumbled upon us, and we became his someone's waiting. We were happy to lend him the $20,000 at 12% for the next 6 months. That was an extra $12,000 going towards my retirement fund. Cha-ching! So, if you start facing a bunch of no's, remember my secret weapon. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. Speaking of someone's waiting, now onto today's episode of the Real Estate Investor Growth Network podcast. We have with us one of my new friends, Bud Evans. He's an active duty military officer with the United States Air Force, serving with the Pennsylvania Air National Guard. He's been in the military now for 33 years and is going to retire at exactly 35 years in August of 2022. I just realized he's older than me, thank goodness. Bud is an investor and licensed agent. He currently operates in New Jersey and Pittsburgh with single-family homes. He just made the move into commercial multifamily market and just went under contract with a 6-unit. Woohoo! So welcome to the show, Bud Evans. How was that?
Great.
Excellent. I'm so happy to have you. We are new friends. We've never actually met in person, but I see your face all the time. We are currently coaching together with Tarek Al-Musa with his homeschooled program. And we have coaching calls all the time. And I immediately liked him because we both were like never coaches before, like for a professional organization. So we bonded immediately. And plus, he's got some guns and he had his hands up at one point. I'm like, oh no, Bud, are you swollen? Do you need some Benadryl? So I liked him immediately because he let me start teasing him. So welcome, and tell us a little bit how you got involved in real estate with all this military background.
Yeah. Well, I was a drill status guardsman and became the mayor of Cinnaminson, New Jersey.
Wait, what?
Oh, I never told you that. That's why Rye Guy makes fun of me about the moved into a new town and took over. Yeah, I moved here in 2014, and by 2016 was on committee, and by 2017 I was the mayor of the town.
That is awesome. I love that. All right, keep going.
All right, so I got involved in the economic development committee with planning and zoning, and I found a niche. I really enjoyed it. I loved it. We did a multifamily build for an over 55 community. We built 7 buildings at once. I mean, as the mayor, I'm just doing the economic development portion of this, maintaining the town's plans, the build plan. We got a Lidl shopping center. We got a self-storage unit with 3 pad sites on it. Yeah, and when I left, we were in the process of looking at a potential Marriott on the township border, and 2 Wawas too.
Wow. That's very impressive, bud. Mr. Mayor, are you currently mayor?
No, I'm not the mayor anymore. No. So June of 2017, I was I was moved into the senior intelligence position at my current unit, and as such, I couldn't hold a political position.
Oh, gotcha. And then I think we have the same educational background. Didn't you do Fortune Builders?
Yes, I did. So when I left in June, I had like 50 hours a week to blow on top of my regular job. So I was looking for something to fill the time, and I had always wanted to get into real estate, and the whole economic development committee really kind of sparked that. So I made the jump. September of 18, I went to a 3-day seminar with Fortune Builders, and then signed up. 2 weeks later, I was in my immersion course, and then the next day went to contract on my first flip.
And people like turn their noses up to educational programs where you pay a lot of money, but part of my meditation this morning was to look back 5 years, and 5 years ago real estate was not even on my radar. And to think, that by doing that education program, we made the financial investment. I mean, it just made all the difference in the world. And so there's people who spend so much time saying, you're going to spend that much money on education, yet a year from now, they're going to be in the same place and I'm going to be miles ahead of them. So I was just thinking about this morning. Yeah, you're doing great things. I enjoy stalking you on Facebook now, but you sent over your bio and you said that you played ice hockey. What?
Yeah.
Now my husband is a big Hurricanes fan. Like, he has season tickets.
Okay.
And don't be mad at me, but I'm not a fan of hockey. Like, I'm like, please just find someone else to go. It's like my girls' night to myself, but yeah, he's a huge fan. So tell me about your ice hockey experience.
There's really not much to tell. I mean, I played at a few different levels. I got the chance to skate with the Lightning one time. I've skated with the Flyers a couple times. The Flyers alumni, skated with them a few times. I wasn't good enough to make it to the pro levels, but I was, lucky enough to find myself in odd situations. I'm the guy who knows the guy, so funny things happen because I happen to know the guy, and then I get invited. So I played at various levels, but the most fun I had with ice hockey was coaching. I've coached from Adams, which is like 5 years old, all the way up to juniors, which is up to 22 years old. I'd much rather coach the Adams, but the parents are worse. And then when you get up to 22, it's exactly the opposite. The kids are, think they're something, and the parents don't come to the games anymore. So,
wow.
Yeah, but my pride and joy was taking a team that was worst in the league when they took over the Pee-wees, and I took them from worst to first. We were 1 goal away from nationals 1 year later.
That is awesome, and really, really important question. Do you have all your teeth?
I have one busted one in the back. It's a cat from fighting. But other than that, I got all my own teeth.
That's impressive. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on the show today. And I know you have a ton of experience, and you're going to be sharing one of your past projects. So I hope you picked a good one. Juicy. So tell us a little bit about the project.
Yeah,
about the property in general. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, we had we picked up a through networking, which network. I mean, we talked about the paying the money for the gurus. I had gone on to auction.com and Hubzu and looked all over the place and couldn't find a deal. Wound up winning about 10 of the auctions on auction.com, but never met the reserve. And then got into Fortune Builders, and they told, basically gave me a blueprint. Hey, do this, network this way, talk to these people. And I did. So this was the first BRRRR flip that I've done.
All right. So tell the listeners what BRRRR stands for.
Yeah. So BRRRR is buy, repair, rent, refinance, and repeat.
Love it.
Yeah. So do I. It's my favorite strategy.
So this is your first one. So tell us about the actual property. Like how many bedrooms is it, etc.
Yeah. It was listed as a 3-in-1. And in actuality, it was more like a 2.5-in-1. One of the bedrooms was being used as a laundry room. And because of it, half the room was gone. So we moved the washer and dryer. Jersey, we have basements, and we were able to move the washer and dryer and put a sink down in the basement, reroute the pipes so that we could do that, and then tie it in, appropriately to the plumbing. We made it a 4 and 1.5.
Oh,
Yeah. So the rent in the area was $13.50, and we now have it at $16.50, and it's under rented. We're going to be moving that up to about $17.50 over the next couple of years.
nice. Wow. So how did you find this property? Just through your network?
Networking. Yeah, we went to a meetup, had conversations with a bunch of people, handed out cards, got cards handed back to us, got put on buyers list. And then I got a phone call from Jeff and Donna Forrest at J&D, and they had a property. Coincidentally, they had sold me my first flip. So
Wow.
they sold me my first 2 properties ever, the same couple.
So what's a good way for the listeners to find places to network, like legit places to network?
Uh, Local real estate meetups, honestly, or meetup.com and look on there, or go to Facebook and, plug in your zip code and say, investor group, and there'll be millions.
That is so true. Now there are some that are like super annoying where it's all newbies and the questions. I'm like, I just don't have time for this. Where are my friends' dog pictures? All right. So what was the asking price for this property?
They wanted 81.
81. Sorry,
Yep.
is that normal in that area?
81,000. Yeah. It was a distressed property. It had, there was a glass wall, if you remember those from like the 1970s.
Like the ice block ones?
The frosted mirror glass walls,
Fancy.
those things. Yeah, well, somebody had smashed it, so it was all over the ground. They had light blue carpets that had been sun faded, and they were torn. There was paneling all over the first floor, great 1970s look there. The kitchen hadn't been updated since the 80s. It was like a sky blue, with the old wood cabinets, but they were press board. They weren't, I was able to turn those over they were in good shape though. So I was able to turn those over to Habitat for Humanity. I do some veterans builds with them. So we gave it to them, and, they put them in a house, which was great.
I love that.
And even if they sell them at a restore, they're still helping people.
Absolutely. So nice of you to do that. So what was the estimated after repair value at time of purchase?
I was looking at about 180.
Okay. Nice. And what were your estimated repairs?
We had it, let's see here. Where was it? 30.
Okay.
30,000.
And what were you going to do for 30,000?
We had to tear down all the paneling. Luckily, we were lucky enough we found drywall behind it, which was great, because normally
Rare.
it's just studs behind it, and then you're paying for the extra drywall and whatnot. So we just had skim coat all that stuff, which is just, you put mud on the, and fill in the holes. So we had to replace the entire kitchen. We had to fix up the bathroom a little bit. It didn't need a lot. Had a clawfoot tub.
Ooh.
Yeah, right. A little old fashioned, but it worked out. It was very nice. It was a good selling point. And then we added, there was a space that I have. This is similar to another house that I have now. But when I was looking at this, I was also looking at that one, and wound up buying that one 3 weeks later. But so walking through that house, I got the idea that I could put a half bath on the first floor in the kitchen, and, and add value to the property. So we did that. And then upstairs, there was a huge second floor, but it was 1 bedroom. It was considered 1 bedroom.
Oh my gosh.
So we put up a couple of walls, made a small sitting area, and a couple of outlets on those walls inside, put up a couple of doors, and bam, you got a 4-bedroom, 1.5.
That is awesome. Wow. So how did you finance this deal?
Used hard money primarily. So that was about 80%. And then the closing costs and the gap funding um, came from a friend of mine, private money lender. He lent me the rest at 10%, no points.
And so was it 80% of the purchase price and the rehab costs?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Love that. A lot of the listeners, if they've never done or if they've never worked with a hard money lender, they don't understand that you can actually borrow the rehab costs
Yes.
because that's what hard money lenders do. So
And
awesome.
the crazy part about all that is it was it wasn't based on the after repair value. It was based on the purchase price. So the purchase price plus the repair cost were well below. So it was almost, the lender gives me 100% of up to 65% of the after repair value, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So overall, it was about 80% of the total of the all in. And then Matt came up with Z. He's my partner now. My private money lender is now my partner in Code 3 Properties. And he came up with about 20 grand and boom, we were good to go.
Love it. All right. So what was your projected timeline in the beginning?
Yeah, that's kind of where we got stuck on this one. Well, first, luckily enough, talking to Jeff and Donna and knowing that we had already done business together, I thought that the 81,000 was a little high. So I offered them 75. We settled on 76.
Nice.
Yeah. So they still made money and I was able to make a little bit of money. So um, the ARV, about 3 months after we got into it, I started looking at it again and it had jumped almost $15,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
But
Jersey market it was crazy. It started to get really crazy back then.
but your plan was to buy and hold this though, correct?
Oh yeah.
But you need a high why is it important? Tell the listeners why it's important to have a higher ARV though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great question because what you're doing is you're going to refinance this property and get your money back. So I took all of the money back that I borrowed from Z, Matt, and paid him back and put about 10,000 in my pocket. And then it's still cash flowing $350 a month.
Ugh, that is awesome. So during the renovations, what was the estimated timeline? So I know you said that
3 months.
okay, 3
We were
months.
expecting 3 months.
And what actually happened? Any bumps along the way? I
Permit,
know that's so rare.
permits. Municipalities can be difficult. But after waiting for about a month and a half, I finally reached out. The town is right next door to where I was the mayor, so I knew the mayor. So that's the reason that it's unfortunate that you have to make the call like that. Nobody should have to make that call, but I had to reach out to the local municipality and say, hey, look, I'm having a problem with your construction department. They're not issuing these permits. And it delayed me a month and a half. And so I got stuck with all the holding costs and it put me over the timeline. I wasn't expecting to make a second tax payment out of pocket, but I did.
Yeah.
And in Jersey, that's a killer. It's $6,000 a month or a year. Sorry, $6,000 a year on that property.
Gosh, for something at that value to be 6,000 a year. Wow, that is crazy. And you got to throw that mayor title around a little bit. I mean, I love that you did that. We are currently in permit purgatory with 2 projects right now. One, we are on about month 4 waiting on permits, and the other one, month 7, because we're changing the topography of the actual lot. And so it's just, and then we have to add a retaining wall. I mean, it is a nightmare. So
Got to go through zoning and all that stuff.
it's crazy. So your 6 weeks, that's nothing. But anyway, all right. So you repaired everything, and contractors, all that. Did that go well?
Yeah. So Alex Eli and Eli Construction is a friend of mine. So I'd done a couple of I had interviewed a couple of contractors and they just couldn't touch it. And I was getting the bud deal. So, because he's a friend and he knew that he was working on the first flip. So, and in quick succession knew that this is happening at the same time. And, oh, by the way, we're looking at another rental property. So he wanted to have a piece of all 3. So to do that, we kind of leveraged that and got a little break on the labor costs.
All right. So took you 3 months to rehab it. How long did it take you to find a renter?
Took us 4.5, and we found a
Four and a half
renter.
months?
Yeah,
Oh, from the beginning, from the purchase date.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
because of the permits. Yeah, so that was the unfortunate part. But at the same time, it's not like I lost money on the deal. It's still a cash flowing asset, which was great. But yeah, Alex gave me a break on the what do you call it?
Construction.
On the labor. Yeah, and Lowe's Prodesk, because I'm a veteran and because I'm a contractor. I got 10% off for being a veteran, 10% off for being a contractor. So the expected repairs, excuse me, the expected repairs went down.
So you did all the repairs and then you got a renter in there. How long did it take after you had the renter in there to refinance it?
It was immediately. We had it done within a month. Uh, so we had the property manager put somebody in it. We immediately turned it. And as long as I show income, I was able to refinance it.
Because some banks like to see, they use the term seasoned, and you have to have a renter in there for sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. We just refinanced an Airbnb and we had to show 24 months. So, because that's a totally different game. But, so that's great. So your bank, did you have a relationship with them, or like how did you get it so quickly?
No, actually, I had established a relationship with one of the salespeople. So I had several conversations with Jeremy Kronick at Lending One. Good guy. We had a lot of conversations about what direction I planned on taking the business. Talked about his family. Talked about his dog. That kind of stuff. And honestly, when it came down to it, it helped because he knew me and I knew him. So it made the transition a lot easier. And even though, so I've refinanced this place twice
Okay.
already. So I, in the beginning, I went up with a 6.36 interest rate because I'm a noob.
That's pretty high.
So yeah, and now I'm at a 4.1.
Okay. So you said it at one point before, but let's just go through the numbers one more time. So you bought it for 81, you put about 30,000 into it.
Mm-hmm.
You got it rented, you refinanced it. What did it appraise for?
192 something.
Damn. And you were originally thinking, what, 180 something?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and when they refinance it, they will finance, was it like 80%, 85%? What was the?
I didn't go that high. Actually, all I wanted was Z's money back on this one, and I was going to let it sit because I didn't want to, because of the rate, I didn't want to take that much. So I refinanced it for just right there, right at that, like I think it was 125 or 126.
So you have a smaller payment.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is so smart. And so you didn't take any cash back, like or cash out from the deal.
Not until March of this year.
So then when you refinanced it again.
When I here's the crazy part. When I refinanced it again, and I was getting the it's actually 4.25. This one's 4.25. I was able to with the tenant paying down for almost a year and a half. That's almost, yeah, it's a year and 20, 21. No, so it's 2 years.
Wow.
We're paying on it. Sorry, I lost track of the dates. 2020 doesn't exist in my mind for some reason. So everything just kind of goes, it's like, oh, not 2019, 2021. That's 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we refinanced it for 150 and we took part of that. We refinanced another property. Plus we had completed our 10th flip, which will be my last flip ever. We pulled $100,000 out of that, and then we're using the total of $147,000. We're taking $124,000 of that and buying a six.
I love that. So you're getting into multifamily. I can't wait to hear about that. Hopefully you'll come back on the show.
Oh yeah.
So what is your monthly payment for the bank? Let's start there.
708 Park is $777.
Okay, and the rent is how much?
$1,650.
Oh my goodness, that is a slam dunk. What are your expenses? Do you have to pay any of the utilities?
No, sewer and water included.
That is
Everything is included with,
awesome.
not everything. They pay everything, I should say.
That is awesome. And you've had the same tenant in there?
Yes. Same family. Yeah.
Well,
Very nice people.
I think that is a slam dunk. Thank you for sharing that. I got to find out though, why did you flip your last house?
I got tired of buying myself a job. So, and listen, I'm not saying it's not lucrative, and I'm not saying that it's good for some people, but it's not my business model. My business model is to create passive income until the point it becomes cyclical and then starts growing on its own. So that's kind of why I got out of flipping. It doesn't provide passive income. Once you're done, your income stream stops.
That is so true. So, so true. Listeners, I hope you heard that. That was a great one. And it's definitely important to diversify. That's huge. We love doing the flips. We love providing homes for people, but we do have that passive income coming in as well because that's so important to keep that flowing, shall we say. So after doing this BRRRR strategy, is there anything you do differently?
Oh yeah. So I've gotten to the point now where we are able to take cash flow and purchase turnkey properties as well. So not only do we borrow, but we buy turnkey off the market. We do that. A lot of the houses in Pittsburgh are turnkey.
That is awesome. So
Yeah,
smart.
we a couple of different things that came up through the build though was like communication with the contractor. Me saying, hey, they're going to come out and inspect for the permits does not mean that we have the permits. So you not call the drywall guys in and have them start covering up the electric and the plumbing because they make you tear that stuff out. Yeah, that happened with this build specifically. And then having my contractor who's Portuguese speaking to my subs who are Spanish, that they're kind of the same, but not exactly.
No, they're not.
Yeah, Brazilian. He's Brazilian, speaking Portuguese to Spanish from Honduras and Guatemala. It doesn't mesh.
No, it doesn't. Yes, I'm from South Florida, so I know all the different intricacies with the languages. So, well, thank you for sharing that. That is such a great strategy for folks to get into that BRRRR method, and it's the long game. It's one of those where you don't get a quick $70,000 from a flip, but you have what we call mailbox money coming in, and that's awesome. And you're providing a safe home for tenants, and I think it's fantastic. So thank you for sharing that. The second half of the podcast, I like my listeners to find out what makes Bud, Mayor Bud, a badass, and I use the acronym BADASS, and the first letter is B, which stands for book. What is a book that's made a huge difference in your life?
Cliche, but everyone says Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep.
At 48 years old, I read that, and that's what kind of set me on this path. So, given that, I'll say Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin.
Jocko.
Yeah.
You have to have that voice.
Not only is he a badass for real, it translated for me my military background directly into how to run my business. I have no more than 3 people below me, and then if I do, I scale. I don't want to be that solopreneur, but if somebody screws up at the lowest possible level, it's my fault.
Right. Yep. I love me some Jocko. All right. The first A in badass is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Yeah. Stop lifting heavy stuff. It was the guy that picked things up and put them down. And then so
how are those cortisone shots going for you?
No, both my knees are trashed. Both my shoulders are trashed. Unfortunately, after 10 deployments or so, you just things just break. So that's kind of where I am right now. So I'm just trying to take the pressure off. And then the other thing, now General Eisler, back then Colonel Eisler told me, hey, don't always look for the active duty portion of this. Become a technician. So in 2011, I took his advice, and then I've been on active duty orders ever since. What that means is for doing no additional work, I get the second pension.
Wow, that is Pretty fantastic. All right. The D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
So this leads me to a story. So there's that Park Avenue property that I was talking about, 708 Park. There was a homeless veteran who was driving by our build, and her family lives in Palmyra. She was, I'm not going to go into the backstory. She had some difficulties based on trauma. And the individual that she was living with kicked her and her three kids out of the house. Because of it, she wound up losing her job and found herself living either in her car or in a homeless shelter in Philly, which is not a great environment for three kids. We were able to, because she was a Jersey resident, we were able to get her first VA disability. We got her set up with that. We, started the process. And so she was able to get payments. And then on top of that, we got her in touch with Section 8 with HUD, and we were able to get her Section 8. We got her a 3-bedroom. We were able to get her a 3-bedroom. And I was more than willing to rent to her, but because of the delay and permits, she couldn't wait anymore. She was still living in that homeless shelter while I was doing the build. So we were able to locate something. I got her in touch with my property manager, and they were able to place her somewhere. So, hey, we got her off the street. That's the good thing. I really love doing things for other people. That's kind of what's behind all this.
And, with this industry, we have that opportunity to do that for a family. And, a lot of times house flippers, we get a bad rap for, being money hungry. And, I have not found that. And it has just been so rewarding to go in and provide, a safe home for a family. And I love that you did that. Great job. Thank you for sharing that. The second A in badass is aspiration. I'm a big goal setter. So what is a goal you are currently working on?
Retirement. That's the big one. Yeah. So I'm in the process right now of going through all of the wickets, and it's cumbersome. It really is crazy. I can't believe how difficult it is to get all of the documentation ready. And when I started the process, it was 18 months before I was getting ready to retire. And now I'm 1 year out and I'm not even halfway done.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there are so many things you have to do between the VA and then the military itself, and then getting all your documentation done. I won't be done with my documentation until, no kidding, 1 month before my retirement date.
And that is August, correct?
Yes, August of 22. So July of 22, I'll come off my last military order. And then August of 22 is my official retirement.
Well, I just want to take a moment to thank you for your service and everything that you've done, coming back from doing military and then going in and becoming a mayor of a town. And, that is just amazing. So thank you for everything that you have done. We appreciate you.
Thanks for the support.
Yes. The first S in badass is systems. What are some systems you have in place to help you achieve success?
I got overloaded. So I started with one virtual assistant to do my bookkeeping, and then picked up another one so I'm scaling sort of in a different direction. One VA who does my bookkeeping, and another one who does SEO. So search engine optimization. And then I actually tomorrow I'm hiring an executive assistant to monitor all of that. Plus, answer my calls, deal with my website, do all the social media posts. Because it's me, I have like a 4-page job description for the person. His name is Ron. I have a 4-page description for Ron.
So is this person, your assistant, going to be like in person, or is it an online person?
No, he's a virtual assistant out of the Philippines. And
so are all three of your VAs?
Yeah, they're all VAs. The one is in India, the other one's in Bangladesh, and Ron is in the Philippines. There's a book called The World is Flat, and I was kind of like, this is great. I was reading it in 2009. And I was like, I don't know if this is ever going to be me. Well, here I am, dealing with people that are literally halfway around the world that are running my business for me.
And they do a good job.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't, the reason I have to get Ron is to make sure that not that I lose track. It's just, you still have to maintain accountability.
Wow. We only have one VA, and I wanted him to be like local. Like, I have a hard time thinking I'm talking to someone in the Philippines. So I did find one actually in North Carolina, and he's done a great job. But interesting. All right. I'm telling you, JP was explaining I need to cut the cord and just let it go. My life will be so much better. All right. The final S in badass is success. What does success mean to you?
I don't spend enough time with my wife. I want to be able to do that. My son is getting married in April of next year.
And your son is 29.
29, yeah.
And you've been married for how long?
33 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. That is very impressive. We're about to celebrate our 10, and I'm not too much far behind you. What's that?
I'm going to get in trouble for this one. We're married 31 years. We've been together for 33.
Your 31st anniversary is coming up.
Yes. But I'm treating it like our 20th anniversary because our 30th anniversary because it's last year didn't exist. We had a cruise planned for 30, but COVID. So
I get you. Yes, because 2020 doesn't exist. I hear you.
Exactly.
Well, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. How do people find you? What's the name of your company? 3 what?
It's Code 3 Properties.
Okay.
LLC. But the easiest way to find me is just go to buddevans.com.
It's not Mayor Bud Evans?
Nope. Pure and simple. It's just me. It's not, there's no Air Force Association, no government association. It's just me.
Well, thank you so much. I hope to have you on again. I would love to hear about the 6-unit property that you're purchasing.
Oh,
and I'd love to have you back on. So thank you, Bud. I am looking forward to someday we will meet in person, get past this virtual thing. So thank you. And that is all. Thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery. And don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.